So I am at Strive Health Club. It's a really, really impressive facility. They've got full S&C set up here, medical services. Dave Howells, SEM consultants based out of here. Johnny Pico runs the clinical bit, who was at Man United as the senior physio there for a while as well. Just a really, really amazing setup that they've got here. So this is the outdoor pitches. The airport is literally just there. They've got rugby set up where they've housed the Lions have been over here. They had South African rugby. So it's got a really, really high pedigree, as well as doing a load of community stuff for the Jersey Council. So it's quite a unique club, and I mean, the investment is absolutely massive here. They've got full of kit. I mean, they've got the Primus, and the way that Heather uses that is a really, really interesting way, integrating the physios and Dave on the SEM side as well. So yeah, very interesting setup. Great to see it. I've been meaning to come over here for a number of years now. So yeah, very impressive indeed.
All right.
So Heather, amazing facility here. Talk me through what sort of stuff you've got here and what it's used for.
Yeah. I'm employed by Strive. I obviously own a Primus RS, which we've based out of the Strive Academy. The Strive, in essence, has two parts. It has the gym, which is a member gym facility, which we'll go through and show you now. But this area is really more based around high performance, community, elite level training. It gives us space and potential for training in groups and in allowing athletes to be in a group community training. We also work with the Jersey government, and also where elderly people are referred by the GPs that need to do exercise sort of into elderly life. So that we run courses in the morning around that with Jersey Sport, or in collaboration with Jersey Sport. It's generally used as bridging the gap for youth and educating around sport and environment and community. So that was the aim to that Strive, because the ground was sort of allocated by the government for sport and youth. It's taken that focus. This is also where, as you know, the Springboks came to Jersey for their pre-season last year. They trained out of this facility, and this was the Lions have been here for their pre-season training in the last couple of years, and the aim is going forward to allow or get sort of the rest of the UK knowing that we're sort of a centre of excellence for pre-season, pre-training. We've got incredible weather, amazing beaches, and great facilities. So that's in essence what the Academy was driven to do, is to try and attract teams to the island for training, basically. The Academy was originally designed to help children and athletes and teams. So we do a lot of team training in here, basically. And we do athletes netball, classes, the rugby guys come train out. So this is the Strive member gym. It's a quite comprehensive weighted facility. A lot of the physios really link into sort of integrative care and personalized customization programming. So we've got external PTs that consult in, and then we've got a lot of physios that sort of do end-stage rehab in the facility as well. The rugby club is across there. That's where the Springboks did their training, and the Lions also would have done their training. The plan is, which has just been put to government, is to put a 3-story hotel, potentially it's in the newspaper at the moment, in that car park in an L shape with a pool, a training pool. So they want to try and attract more teams to the island to try and use the hotel facility as a link into the gym. So there's options of that being built in 2026, of a build starting on that. This is the dojo, where we have karate and basically it's a functional studio really as well, but generally mostly a boxing and dojo. And then this room here is used for hiring functions. It's got, if you want to do any courses out here, if say you wanted to do like conferences or lectures, this room is available for rentals. It's got the screen and talks and conferences, yeah. The mind body where we do yoga, Pilates. It's a movement studio, basically. So Pilates. And they're in a class at the moment. She's in a 1-to-1, but I'll just have a quick push in. Sorry, it's just me. How are you doing? How are you doing? We've got a reformer studio, this one. So the reformers. This is the spinning room, which actually acts as an altitude chamber as well. So we have really high level cyclists that come and do classes as part of the club, but can act over into teams. Obviously, the route's also projected up on the board, so it's like real visualization, or it's like a nightclub on steroids. So this is the hydrotherapy suite. It has the treadmill and the wave resistance. So I actually use it a lot with the end range combinations with the Primus and biomechanical components of just checking the hips back to load or the gait back to load in end stage rehab. So it works really well. And obviously we have the weight shifter for special needs if we're needing as well. So this is Stride Medical. So this is we had the Primus up here. I moved it upstairs. So this is Johnny's room. This is the lab.
Wow.
We've got a whole full blood lab here. That we're able to do all our own in-house testing, which is linked in with the guy downstairs. And then we've got 2 physio rooms. Yeah, so we've got this room and this room. Physio.
So keep your knees together and your feet
I've
together.
taken a different route from the point of view. I'm really lucky that I own the Primus RS. So I've been have had the liberty of doing sort of experimental protocols. And over the years of owning it, it's been about 13 years I've owned the Primus now. It's come down to for me is a lot around the hips. I kind of see the hips as the engine of the body and pretty much simplify explanation and understanding of biomechanics around levers and pulleys. So what I try and do differently to other clinicians is I pretty much present to the patient the concept of levers and pulleys and the hip being the driver. Often what tends to happen is a lot of people go into a gym environment, they build a lot of strength in the upper body or a lot of strength in the lower body, and that creates torque within the pelvis. So one of the key screening methodologies or protocols I use is what I call a hip MOT, because the hip MOT tends to kind of decipher, or the data shows the algorithm of force closure of the hips between the glute med and the glute max. And what that allows me to see is how the dynamic of the hips, the load between the power of the lower limb affects the torque in the pelvis. So I pretty much screen 4 muscle groups: quads, hammies, glute med, glute max. We're currently doing a glute med assessment here. And in essence, what I work on is ratios. So once I've got the data, I look at ratios. So if the machine measures out of 800 newtons, you do a quad leg extension, it powers up to 500. We're going to want the extension in the glutes to be a match of a push and a pull of 500. So the hinge in between, which is effectively glute med, needs to also be a 500. And 90% of the time, that's very underpowered because of movement patterns, previous injury. Somehow the body's ability to switch out, power up through the hamstring and the QLs, it switches on the back and doesn't fire the glutes optimally because of for whatever reason. So getting that ratio to start is really pretty much the root cause of where the diagnostics begin, because once you can establish that, it transcends how to implement treatment programs, what percentage of ratios need to go into protocols. So if it's 50% weaker, you need to be doing 50% more to deficit train the gap of that antagonist, or switch on the hamstrings to power up. So we're into basically doing a glute-med test now. So we're going to go to the ISO test first. So you're going to go back. This one, we're going to bring you in. This is the one test that I do like because it takes the back out of the testing. So I pretty much put it into a clam position. I get the pelvis level with the tooling. So you're going to just measure up this hip bone to there. That's about right. Okay, and then we're just going to wrap this underneath. So we're just testing the glute-med at this point. Okay, we're going to get you off your elbow if that's okay, just so you don't roll into your back. Okay, so you can see in this case his hip is sort of falling past the shoulder. So what we're going to do for the sake of the test is just stabilize you into neutral, so the SI joint falls straight in line. So I'm going to just assist there to allow the test not to be compromised through the QLs, and just get the glute to switch on. So we're pretty much ready to go. So all you're going to do is keep your feet together and just push up through your knee.
So we're going to work on strength first.
Yeah.
Okay, going 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, we didn't lock in and just unlocked it. We're going to redo that. Okay, just going to lock in. So first test, we're going to lock in. Hold on a sec. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, lock in. There we go. Try that again.
3, 2, 1, go.
Push.
And rest. And again, 3, 2, 1, go. Relax. Last one. 3, 2, 1, go. And relax. Nice.
So one of the things I also find quite significant is the machine maxes at 800 newtons. So the idea is to try and find out which muscle is providing the highest newton. Normally it's the quads or the glutes, and try and get an even 1-1-1 ratio. What I find with athletes though, because they're so strong, they can power up, and it doesn't reflect in a strength and power isometric test. You can't see the fatigue hasn't set in. So you could test an isometric dynamometer in your clinic, get an ISO reading which looks to be the same as the other side, because you don't see the antagonist fatigue. So one of the best ways I test with athletes is in endurance, because it shows the fatigue sets in, and that's when you get to see the ratio differences in the muscles against each other. Okay, this is going to be power, 10 seconds.
Just unlock it.
Yeah, start, you go.
3, 2,
You got to
1, go.
feet together,
Feet
hard
together.
and fast. So you'll often find with an athlete, in 10 seconds, they can power up, and they often use their whole body to assist. And it's difficult to isolate in any setting, even in isokinetic testing, because peak force has so much compromised muscles that kind of pull into an open chain movement in isokinetic. So that's why I like to pull it right back to very closed chain individuals, performance muscles, and then look at the performance individually in ratios to the whole. Because sometimes when you open the chain, yes, it's great in sport, but there's a lot of joints that are compromised with an open chain because the levers or the antagonist isn't stabilizing optimally. And then the last one, endurance.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
You see, just that pelvis switches on the back. So he's got definitely a fallout under load as he fatigues. So you can see how his pelvis drifts back. So we really have to keep internal, because you don't like that in your back. Just to test in neutral. done, and we'll stop. So this is where it does get interesting. Can you remember what he tested in the first test, endurance?
I wrote it down.
Okay, so for example, the left quad endurance was
Left quad
endurance.
was 3003.
Okay, here's a great example of where his left quad was powering up for 3,000 newtons of workload. So he pretty much could keep going with his quad for 3,000, where the antagonist to the quad is glute med, stabilizing the power, didn't even make it to 1,000 newtons. So we like nearly 3,500 less in ratio. So if we basically, with the homework, will really get the glute strength and power and the pelvis switching on without the torque, and that will power up endurance. And the problem is with a 600 endurance in the glute med and a 3,000 in the quad, the hip will get tired, which is why he rolls into his back. His back, the disc compromised. So the disc isn't the problem, it's the force he keeps twisting through the disc that's creating the back pain. So I often find if I can optimize or reduce torque or twist or one or two things, either the left hip dips out or a torque rotation through the opposing hip, and then we script the deficit in the exercise prescription according to the percentage ratio. So most people exercise and know the weaker side, but never quite enough. So you might be doing possibly 30%, but you don't actually realize the endurance is 3,000% weaker. So we have to almost do 3 times more exercise on one muscle group, one muscle, literally isolated muscle, to actually get optimization over, the rehab protocol. So I'm very big on using the data. Prescribing exercise is very evidence-based that if there's a 3,000 deficit, we make it work 3,000 times more. Obviously, I tend to work more on the ISOs as the root cause, but it reflects predominantly in performance into the endurance.
So Dave, great to see you over here.
Likewise, welcome to Jersey.
Thank you. Yeah, my first time here. It's an amazing setup at Stride, isn't it? How long have you been involved with here?
Since it's opened, really. So which was pretty soon after the Lions came over to train. So a good few years now, and it's an incredible setup. Really, first class facilities. And I think you've had a tour around. Heather's sort of shown you around.
Yeah.
It's it's got everything from the hydro pool to really good gym, and as you can see, it's sort of split into two. So then we've got the other side, which is almost a mirror gym that's accessed by all the young sort of sporting teams in Jersey, and then any touring sides that come over, which is incredible for the island, and really lucky for all the young athletes that are here.
No, it's really impressive. So in terms of how it operates and how you interact with the rest of the team here, because it seems very integrated. You're having conversations with various people as you go in through the main concourse area. So how does that work with what's the other dynamic of the team here?
Well, I come up, as you know, just in my role as a sports and exercise medicine consultant, and then really lucky to work with Johnny Picco, who, as you know, was formerly worked with Manu. And three other physios. We've got Jolene, Hannah, and Sam, and then also we've got Heather as well, doing all of her work, which is fantastic. And then all the PTs downstairs as well. So it's a symbiotic relationship, really. I often see patients in my clinic that I know that would just do really well with the facilities here, and likewise, if the guys have got any problems with any patients or any clients that they're worried about, they can come to me and we can talk through things. Johnny and I will often see patients together and come up with the best rehab plan that we can to get them back to their goals as timely as we can.
Yeah, no, it's a really good setup that you've got. So in terms of the patients then, what type of, is that private clients? Is it more funded ones from insurance, or what's the dynamic tend to be?
I think the majority are covered privately. As you know, Jersey's sort of in this situation where a lot of work in the finance industry, so do have health insurance. But equally, there are a high number of self-funding funders as well, and then also some are financed and helped by their sort of teams that they play for, like Jersey Cricket, Jersey Netball, and the Bulls, the Jersey football team. They all play to a pretty high level.
Yeah. And what are the sort of treatments that you're doing here? I know you've got your ultrasound machine and...
Yeah, but I suppose, like most SEM docs, it's just coming up with an accurate diagnosis. Using both clinical skill, history, clinical skills, and then backing it up with the ultrasound plus minus other modalities like MRIs. We need just to come up with the best diagnosis or the most accurate diagnosis I can, just to really help plan rehab, which is almost always then in conjunction with the team here, or other physios on Jersey. But when I'm here with the team here, to come up with the best rehab plan that we can.
Yeah, and we were talking as well about like Heather. She's been one of the longest serving Primus users, probably in the UK, even though when she was using it in Africa previously. So how have you found the referral with using the Primus, more of a functional dynamometer than the traditional isokinetic type setup?
Fantastic, really, really good. And I found it really useful, especially in groin pain. I think I just found it a really helpful tool for that. Patients can really clearly understand that there are sort of imbalances and how they can work on them to improve symptoms. I think it's incredibly useful. I think it's a really, really useful tool, and it's lovely that you can monitor progress as well. And patients can see that they're getting better as well as see the numbers as well are improving.
Yeah, no, it does make a big difference. That numbers bit and data is becoming quite a big part of it. And how involved do you get in terms of like looking at the reports or data? How do you interact with Heather on that stuff?
We do go through stuff. Interestingly, I think she'll quite often hand them to Johnny as well, and I do quite often go through them with Johnny as well. It just really has helped. It really has helped guide rehab. For both us and for the athletes or patients getting back to what they want to do.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think I visit many places around the UK and internationally, and this is quite a unique setup in terms of the kit that you've got, but also the team. And I think you can sense how integrated everything is as well, which I think is one of the main things. You can have all the staff, but if they're not talking, then that's a key component of it.
There really is. I mean, it is a lovely. I think it's brilliant that patients can go through a rehab pathway, then knowing at the end that actually that I can carry on doing this, and there's PTs here that can help guide me if I need it, and the facilities are here to do that as well. And it is pretty remarkable, right down to the hydro pool. I think that's just there's pretty much everything here. I think
so. A lot of money's gone into it. That's for sure.
It has. Luckily, not mine.
But is it the stuff that was your money? Well, I presume it was your money in terms of the Focus Shockwave that you've been using from us for a few years now. So how's that been going for you?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, Adam and I, who I work with, Adam Garnett, have found it. I think we've just increasingly used it and found it a really fantastic non-invasive treatment option. We've had really good results for plantar fasciopathy, patellar quadriceps tendinopathy, tennis elbow. It's been and had looked at outcomes, and we've got good data that it has been really, really beneficial. And it's great that you can sort of provide that treatment and continue to see the patient over, say, a 4 to 6 week period, and really help guide them and encourage them on what to do and what not to do. And in addition to that time when you're actually carrying out the shockwave.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's really good. No, well, when are you next over for Smug teaching?
I'm being taught actually, so I've got the Stephen Bird conference.
Oh yeah.
At Twickenham, which is in a few weeks' time. It's a week of education for me, so I've got 2 days of that, and then 2 days of the Smug conference, and then hopefully in the not too distant future we'll be back teaching with Krista in one of the cadaver courses as well.
Brilliant, great. No, well, thank you for your time.
Not at all. Thanks for coming over.
Hey, no, pleasure. Good man.
Cheers, Andy.